Vincent Vega. After a decade-long slump through the 1980s, John Travolta found Vincent Vega, and Vincent Vega found him. Michael Madsen almost played the role but turned it down for Kevin Costner's Wyatt Earp, a decision he'd regret for years. Harvey Weinstein pushed hard for Daniel Day-Lewis, but Tarantino refused to budge, paying Travolta just over $100,000 for 7 weeks of work that would resurrect his entire career. Shot on $8 million in late 1993, Pulp Fiction exploded into something nobody predicted. $213.9 million worldwide, a Palme d'Or at Cannes in May 1994, and a cultural earthquake that's still shaking. The Cannes win didn't come easy though. A French newspaper called the award stolen, and when some audience member shouted the film was a piece of crap in French during the ceremony, Tarantino flipped him off. Tarantino wrote the script in Amsterdam, which explains why Vincent talks so much about Dutch culture, and the 1964 Chevelle Malibu that Vincent drives belonged to Tarantino himself until someone stole it during production. Travolta convinced the director to let him wear hair extensions for that Euro haircut look, then choreographed the twist dance scene himself and taught Uma Thurman every move. Jackrabbit Slims cost $150,000 to build, making it the single biggest expense of the entire production. Vincent Vega and Vic Vega, also known as Mr. Blonde from Reservoir Dogs, are brothers in Tarantino's connected universe. Back in 2004, Tarantino talked about making a Vega Brothers prequel with Travolta and Madsen, but both actors had aged too much to play younger versions of themselves, and the project died.
The tempo of the music fell. C'est la vie, say the old folks. Go to show you never get.
Colonel Hans Landa, Tarantino called Hans Landa unplayable and nearly shelved the entire film because he couldn't cast it. Leonardo DiCaprio was his first choice until he realized the character needed a native German speaker, and that's when everything seemed impossible. Then, a 53-year-old Austrian actor who'd spent 30 years working in German television and theater walked into the audition room and, in Tarantino's words, gave me my movie back. Christoph Waltz was virtually unknown to anyone who spoke English, and overnight he became an international phenomenon. Cannes 2009 gave him Best Actor, the 2010 Academy Awards made him the first actor to win an Oscar for a Tarantino film, and he swept everything else: the Golden Globe, BAFTA, Screen Actors Guild, and Critics' Choice. 27 awards total for playing Landa. A decade went into writing the script, and Tarantino calls that dairy farmer interrogation in the opening his favorite thing he's ever written.
That is unless you have something to tell me that makes the conducting of a search unnecessary. I might add also that any information that makes a performance of my duty easier will not be met with punishment. Actually, quite the contrary. It will be met with reward. And that reward will be your family will cease to be harassed in any way by the German military during the rest of our occupation of your country.
He also said Landa might be the greatest character I've ever written, which carries weight coming from someone who created Jules Winfield and Vincent Vega. The multilingual Jew hunter flows between German, French, Italian, and English throughout the film, loosely based on the real Nazi war criminal Alois Brunner. What makes Landa terrifying isn't ideology, but understanding. Waltz described him as someone who grasps how the world works, and the swastika means nothing to him because he's not driven by belief. That detachment from conviction makes him more dangerous than any true believer ever could be. $321.5 million worldwide made Inglourious Basterds Tarantino's highest-grossing film until Django Unchained topped it. When asked about ever playing Landa again, Waltz said absolutely not, closing the door on the character despite its historic impact on his career.
So you're Aldo the Apache.
So you're the Jew hunter.
I'm a detective. A damn good detective. Finding people is my specialty, so naturally I worked for the Nazis finding people, and yes, some of them were Jews, but Jew hunter? Just a name that stuck.
Well, you do have to admit, it is catchy.
Do you control the nicknames your enemies bestow on you?
Sorry for stopping your video, but you really should subscribe.
Mr. Orange, $1.2 million and 5 weeks of filming launched Quentin Tarantino's career through Mr. Orange and Reservoir Dogs. The original plan called for $30,000, 16mm black and white film, and Tarantino's friends filling the cast, but everything changed when Harvey Keitel's wife got the script through an acting teacher and Keitel signed on. Tim Roth's agents wanted him to read for Mr. Pink or Mr. Blonde, but Roth chose Mr. Orange specifically because he wanted to play an English actor pretending to be American, playing cop pretending to be robber. Most of the film traps the character on a warehouse floor bleeding from a gut shot, and that forced intimacy builds a deep emotional bond with Mr. White, played by Harvey Keitel. That becomes the entire film's core. Sundance in January 1992 made Reservoir Dogs the most talked about film at the festival, and while it only earned $2.9 million domestically, The UK went wild for it with nearly £6.5 million. Cannes screened it out of competition in May 1992, where multiple people walked out during the violent scenes. But after Pulp Fiction exploded in 1994, America re-evaluated Reservoir Dogs completely. October 1990 saw Tarantino finish the screenplay, then 5 weeks in Los Angeles at the Park Plaza hotel bathroom and a Figueroa Street mortuary that served as both the warehouse and Mr. Orange's apartment. Plagiarism accusations came on May 3, 1994, claiming Tarantino copied the 1987 Hong Kong film City on Fire, charges he dismissed while admitting he was a big fan who owned the poster. Empire magazine put it at number 97 in their 500 greatest films of all time in 2024. When Sundance celebrated its 40th anniversary in 2024, 500 filmmakers and critics ranked Reservoir Dogs number 2 on their top 10 films of all time list.
You remember the Fantastic Four?
Oh yeah, with that invisible bitch and Flame On and shit.
Thing. Mother looks just like the Thing.
Ordell Robbie. Ask Samuel L. Jackson about his favorite role, and he'll tell you it's Ordell Robbie, the gunrunner who earned him the Silver Bear for Best Actor at the 48th Berlin International Film Festival in 1998 and a Golden Globe nomination. The film itself only got one Academy Award nomination for Robert Forster's supporting performance, but that doesn't tell the real story. Elmore Leonard's novel Rum Punch became Jackie Brown after Tarantino and Roger Avary acquired film rights to 3 Leonard novels, including Rum Punch, Freaky, Deaky, and Kill Shot. The original plan had Tarantino filming Freaky Deaky or Kill Shot while another director tackled Rum Punch, but when he reread Rum Punch, he fell in love with it again. One major change transformed everything. He switched the protagonist from white to black, creating Jackie Brown, and he waited until filming was about to start before discussing these changes with Leonard. $12 million produced the film, which earned $74.7 million worldwide after opening 5th at the box office on December 25, 1997 with $9.3 million in its first weekend. Coming after Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction, people initially saw it as a disappointment, but time revealed it as Tarantino's most mature and complete work, a film not preoccupied with homages, references, or style indulgence, but dedicated to pure storytelling. Roger Ebert handed out 4 out of 4 stars and praised the alive, authentic, and spontaneous dialogue. Mark Kermode calls it his favorite Tarantino film, and the racial slur appears 38 times, which held the record for any Tarantino film until Django Unchained in 2012. Ordell's line about the AK-47 became legendary on its own. When you absolutely, positively got to kill every in the room, except no substitutes.
Here we go. AK-47, the very best there is. When you absolutely, positively got to kill every motherfucker in the room, except no substitutes.
Elle Driver. When Uma Thurman got pregnant just as cameras were ready to roll, most directors would have recast and moved on. Tarantino shut down the entire production instead, telling people that if Joseph von Sternberg was getting ready to make Morocco and Marlene Dietrich got pregnant, he'd wait for Dietrich. Daryl Hannah landed the role after Tarantino saw her in a TV film called First Target. And here's the thing. He cast her specifically because she looked so much like Uma Thurman that it created this natural rivalry dynamic between the characters. The one-eyed assassin with the codename California Mountain Snake came from Madeline in the film They Call Her One Eye, and that eye patch turned into one of the most recognizable images in modern action cinema. What Tarantino originally conceived as a single 4-hour film got split into 2 volumes to avoid cutting scenes, both shot for $30 million combined. Volume 1 dropped in October 2003 and pulled in $180 million worldwide, then Volume 2 followed in April 2004 with $152 million more. $332 million total, and not a single Academy Award nomination to show for it. Production carried shadows nobody talked about publicly for years. Among the women who eventually brought sexual harassment allegations against Harvey Weinstein was Daryl Hannah, who told Ronan Farrow in his 2017 exposé that Weinstein harassed her multiple times during Kill Bill and once tried to break into her trailer. Empire magazine ranked Volume 1 at number 325 in their 500 greatest films of all time in 2025, and the New York Times put it at number 61 on their 100 best movies of the 21st century list, which proves lasting impact doesn't always need Oscar validation.
In Africa, the saying goes, in the bush, and a black mamba. But only with the mamba, one of time, is death sure. Hence, it's death incarnate, of nature's most effective, acting on the nervous system, causing the venom of a black mamba can kill a human being in 4. However, a bite to the face or torso can bring death from paralysis.
Cliff Booth. Decades into one of the most successful acting careers in Hollywood history, Brad Pitt finally won his first acting Oscar at the 92nd Academy Awards in 2020 for playing Cliff Booth. He swept everything. The Golden Globe, SAG, BAFTA, and Critics' Choice, every major supporting actor award fell to him. Tom Laughlin's portrayal of Billy Jack gave Tarantino the template for Booth, and real-life figures provided the texture. Gary Kent was a stuntman at Spawn Ranch during the Manson family era, and Gene LaBelle was a professional wrestler and two-time national judo champion. The character works as stunt double and personal assistant to Rick Dalton, played by Leonardo DiCaprio, with a backstory that includes being a World War II hero holding 2 Medals of Honor who killed more Japanese soldiers than any other American and specialized in knives and close-quarters combat. Cannes in May 2019 saw the premiere. US release came in July, and $374 million worldwide followed. That made it Tarantino's second highest grosser after Django and third highest overall behind Inglourious Basterds. 10 Academy Award nominations came next, with wins for Best Supporting Actor and Best Production Design. Critics said Pitt steals the movie from DiCaprio, which takes serious work when you're sharing the screen with DiCaprio. Film analysts described Booth as a fantasy of righteous male power that somehow embodies both Buddha's Zen teachings and the capacity for barbaric violence. Catholic Bishop Robert Barron praised the character as embodying the 4 cardinal virtues, while others called him the perfect, complete, more powerful ideal ego. Tarantino calls Once Upon a Time his favorite film he's made, and that's not where the story ends. A sequel titled The Adventures of Cliff Booth is coming, written by Tarantino but directed by David Fincher for Netflix, with production starting July 2025.
Hey! You're Rick Dalton. Don't you forget it.
Calvin Candie. Playing a villain gave Leonardo DiCaprio something he'd been searching for. As he put it, the role takes you to darkest place of where you are as a person. Calvin Candie became one of his most memorable villainous performances, despite the Academy Awards completely snubbing him in what remains one of the most shocking omissions in recent Oscar history. $100 million went into Django Unchained, which became Tarantino's highest-grossing film at the time, by earning over $425 million worldwide by December 2013. At the 85th Academy Awards, the film won 2 Oscars for Best Original Screenplay and Best Supporting Actor for Christoph Waltz as Dr. King Schultz, but DiCaprio didn't even get nominated, despite winning Best Supporting Actor from the National Board of Review and scoring a Golden Globe nomination. The hand injury scene has been told wrong so many times that the myth became more famous than the truth. DiCaprio did accidentally crush a crystal cordial glass during the dinner table scene, slicing his palm open with real blood dripping down his hand, and he did stay in character while picking glass from the wound as the crew lost their minds. But here's what actually happened. Kerry Washington clarified in a 2025 interview that the blood smeared on her face wasn't DiCaprio's real blood. They shot the scene both ways after the injury, and when they decided to use the bloody version, they switched to fake blood for Washington's scenes, with DiCaprio suggesting the face smear for added intensity.
There's a scene where Leonardo DiCaprio, who's so brilliant in the film, actually smashed glass and had a bloody hand. In the scene, he goes to touch my face later, and Quentin wasn't sure if he wanted to use the take with the blood or not. So every moment after that moment in the movie, we shot twice. We would shoot completely bloody with him touching my face with fake blood. And then we had to take everything off and shoot it again totally clean because he just wanted to have the option in the edit of blood or no blood.
Research took DiCaprio into dark places. He found a book on physiognomy, that racist pseudoscience, and the material-inspired script elements Tarantino wove into the character. The question the performance raised was simple and chilling. If Candie would ignore his own bleeding hand, what wouldn't he do to enslaved people? Critics noted he played the character to hateful perfection, a spiteful, brown-toothed bully.
Hey! Don't lay your palm flat on that tabletop! If you lift those palms off that turtle shell tabletop, Mr. Pooch is gonna let loose with both barrels that sawed off. There have been a lot of lies said around this dinner table here tonight, but that you can't believe.
Major Marquis Warren. There's a world where Samuel L. Jackson's Major Warren almost never existed. A script leak in January 2014 almost killed The Hateful Eight before cameras ever rolled. Tarantino had announced the project back in November 2013, conceiving it as both a novel and a Django Unchained sequel, but when the script hit the internet, he seriously considered walking away from the whole thing. What changed his mind was organizing a live reading on April 19, 2014 at the United Artists Theater in Los Angeles with Jackson, Kurt Russell, Bruce Dern, Tim Roth, Michael Madsen, Walton Goggins, Zoe Bell, and Amber Tamblyn. The reading worked so well that Tarantino wrote a new draft with a completely different ending. December 25, 2015 brought a limited 70mm roadshow release in 100 theaters, the largest 70mm theatrical release in 20 years. Those 100 theaters earned $5.66 million in 4 days, with a per-screen average of $56,600, the best numbers for a 90 to 110 screen debut in 5 years. Production costs ran between $44 and $62 million, and $15.7 million of that went straight to cast salaries. Ennio Morricone composed his first Western score in 34 years after initially refusing to work with Tarantino following Django Unchained comments. He changed his mind and wrote 50 minutes of original music without seeing a frame of the film, then won his first competitive Oscar for Best Original Score at the 88th Academy Awards. Major Marquis Warren stands as one of Jackson's most intense and philosophical Tarantino roles, featuring extended monologues that dig into race, revenge, and post-Civil War America. The film also marked Tarantino's final collaboration with the Weinstein Company before he severed all connections following the 2017 sexual abuse allegations.
But when you tell me Minnie Mink took the haberdashery, the most precious thing to her in the whole world, and left it in the hands of a goddamn Mexican? Now, I am calling you a liar, Senor Bob. And if you lying, which you are, then you killed Minnie.
Enjoyed this deep dive? Don't stop here. The one on your screen is even better, so check it out next.